The cult classic Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner Soul Hackers. Sorry, just give me like 30 seconds. Anyhow, yes, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner Soul Hackers released like 25 years ago. And now its sequel, the abbreviated Soul Hackers 2, finally releases. While the spin-off has its fans, I don't think anybody was expecting a brand new entry released less than a year after Shin Megami Tensei 5. There was a lot of excitement surrounding the announcement back in February, and it was a fairly short wait compared to most Atlus titles. So the question is, how does this sequel hold up? Well, long story short, I think the game is okay, but good at its highest points. To get things started, let's briefly touch on the story and characters of Soul Hackers 2. So, the story focuses on Ringo, an agent from an all-seeing computer network called Ion. She and her companion Fig are like, born? Yeah, from the godlike computer program into the form of humans. They both are sent to stop the apocalypse from happening due to evil devil summoners who seek the end of the world as humans know it. Ion seeks to intervene, sending Ringo and Fig to prevent the deaths of key players that will bring about the apocalypse if they are so killed. From there, you're whipped right into the story, and unfortunately, discover that those you seek are already dead. Luckily for you, Ringo and her trusty tongue are able to soul hack these losers right back to life. You quickly learn of the villain, Iron Mask, and his plan, and I'm sorry. I hate this villain.
You're welcome to celebrate with me, Masked Man. So is your little wallflower.
Okay, whatever. Anyhow, Ringo and Fig put together a party of the once dead devil summoners in order to stop the bad guys. And yeah, as quickly as I described that, that's basically about as quick as it happens in the game. And I promise I'm not really spoiling much here with this intro. It's just the first thing that happens, so please don't get too upset. With no time to learn much of anything about each other, you're in a party consisting of Fig, who's the, motherly one, I guess? Ringo, the best one, who's actually really cool. Milady, the femme fatale with secrets of her own. Saizo, who is the laid-back shark man detective. And finally, Arrow. I'm sorry, I don't know who's worse, Arrow or freaking Iron Man. Each is as generic as the next. Arrow's supposed to be the straight man of the group, I guess? But there's no chemistry between these characters as a group, so he just comes off as so plain that I'm surprised Atlus didn't make him the protagonist. But before you do that, thank you. Thank you, Mother Atlus, for not making him the protagonist and making Ringo the protagonist. No, seriously, I'm not lying when I say Ringo is easily the most effortlessly cool protagonist of any Atlus game that I've played. Somehow she manages to have more personality than the rest of the cast combined. Even her casual interactions with people are fun to watch. Her design is pretty great too, but... I'm sorry, what was that? No, seriously, go back. This has been killing me. Seriously, can somebody explain this to me? Okay, so, like, when she's in the overworld... Okay, look here. Both of her legs have that weird wraparound pixel tattoo thing, but when you go into a dungeon... Look, it's gone. But then, when you come across a cutscene in the dungeon, it's back?
Wait, never mind, guys. As I was doing the edit, I feel so stupid I found the answer. It was right here the whole time.
Regardless, Ringo's character is a lot of fun to watch on screen, and I think a lot is owed to her voice actress, Megan Taylor Harvey, because her performance of even the most mundane of lines is fun to listen to.
I'm no Reaper, but I can send you to hell. So face the music, RS, and take the L.
She just killed him. And it's really cool to play as a really proactive protagonist rather than just a silent one who's kind of passive. I think it really makes her stand out from previous protagonists of recent Atlus titles. As for other characters, I mean, don't get me wrong. None of these voice actors give bad performances. It's just that a lot of the material they're given really doesn't allow for much in terms of character. Overall, I guess it just kind of feels bland. The story is pretty forgettable as well. It leans so much on these character interactions, but I found myself not able to invest myself in any of these side characters. It's really unfortunate too, because emotional beats just fall completely flat.
Sure, you're the main squeeze of the man in the mask, but you're endable, expendable, so hope you brought a casket. Oof, zip, talk about a fall. RS has got you with your back against the wall.
Dude, RS freaking rules.
But luckily, story and characters are not all that this game offers. If you, like me, are a Mega 10 fan, then you're probably pretty familiar with the press-turn combat system. I want to talk about this really quick as it's probably the most standout change. Instead of a traditional press-turn system that you may know, it flips it on its head a little bit. It's been simplified. Striking weaknesses does not give each individual party members an extra turn. Instead, each time you strike a weakness, you get what's called a stack. And at the end of your party's turn, all the stacks stack up and allow Ringo to summon each of the demons that hit a weakness to come together for one powerful Sabbath attack, which strength is dependent upon how many times you hit a weakness. I've got to be honest, when I first started playing this, I wasn't really a fan. I felt it really simplified combat because your only extra turn was already decided for you as to what you were going to do with it. And it really just came down to hitting weaknesses so that you could do one final attack to do as much damage as possible. When playing other Mega 10 titles, I liked being able to use each of my extra turns to plan, buff, debuff, heal, etc. It made it feel more strategic. However, as I got further into Soul Hackers 2, I came to appreciate the other systems at play with this. Each summoner in your party has a comp, which allows you to summon a demon. This comp can be upgraded at the comp shop, where you can get skills and upgrades that slowly add little abilities to your summoners, as well as expanding your options when you get a Sabbath attack. For instance, some demons will allow you to heal during a Sabbath attack. Sometimes if you hit a certain weakness with a move, you'll double your stack. Some other abilities that you can get are like passive abilities that kick in randomly. Sometimes they give you an extra turn, sometimes they'll heal your party at the end of their turn for a period of time. All these systems together made me forget about the complaints that I had at the beginning, and I was better able to appreciate the twist that the developers brought to the table. It's also fun knowing that your party can equip any demon and have the chance to switch during combat. This allows for experimentation in a lot of ways. Your party members also have their own attacks that do either physical or gun damage depending on who. They can be strengthened with affinities, armor, items, and have their comps upgraded in the same way Ringo can. Demons function generally as you remember, if you've played a Mega 10 game before that is. There's quite a few recognizable ones here. Most of the classic affinities and abilities are here. Some have been removed, some have different names. And demons, of course, fuse largely the same as well, but as far as I can tell, there are no accidents or special times to fuse. One cool thing that's in this game are demons' abilities to scout ahead in dungeons. Ringo sends out the horde at the beginning of each dungeon, and you'll come across these standing around as you explore. They'll give you items, money, heal HP and MP, and other times they'll give you a chance to recruit a demon. It's a great way to incentivize players to continue pushing through a dungeon if you're thinking of turning back. But honestly, I didn't realize how much I missed the BS of demon recruitment until it was neutered to the point of sterilization in this game.
Too bad!
Yes, thank you, Mothman. I know, that's exactly what I'm saying. But for real, demon negotiations happen outside of combat in this game. They will only ask for like a single thing too, which I think is weird, and it's either HP, MP, money, or an item. That's really it. There's no moon cycle that keeps them from communicating, no pushing their luck by continuing to ask you for more, no introductory question to appease them, really nothing. You're basically guaranteed a demon each time so long as you have a slot open. Now I know what you're thinking. Dude, why would you want the BS? I don't know. I hated getting robbed blind in Nocturne as much as the next guy, but that was the fun of it all. This version just feels completely risk-averse. I don't know, it just kind of feels lame. As for the dungeons themselves, I mean, if you're a Megaten fan, I feel like you've already accepted that these hallway mazes are par for the course. It is a bit underwhelming to have a subway, and an abandoned building, and shipping containers, and a digital world as the majority of dungeons you explore when compared to the handcrafted dungeons of, I'm sorry, I'm making the comparison, Persona 5 and or SMT 5. I just don't understand why none of the cool cyberpunk neon aesthetic was brought to any of these dungeons. Nocturne is like 20 years old and has plenty of hallway dungeons, but somehow they're a little more visually interesting and engaging to me. That might just be a personal thing, but these dungeons were honestly pretty terrible by modern standards, and would be made up for if the events outside of them were really worth writing home about. But really quick, let's move outside and let's look at the overworld, because I actually think the overworld is really cool, so let's go. Like, look at this area. Really cool cyberpunk neon landscape that's bustling with people. Here we have a bar where we can hang out with your buddies. Meanwhile, we can go to a cyberpunk Camarocho, and look, they even have Don Quixote here. Come on, let's keep going. You got all these stores and I think they sell Blue Rock candy there. Mom says not to go there. Just keep walking, just keep walking. And you've got robot pizza and ramen stands. I mean, look how cool this all is. Then let's go back to the dungeons real quick and... Yep, yeah. It's really cool. But yes, I do enjoy the locations outside of dungeons. The stores and their various shop owners are all fun to interact with when you can. You can work for a club where you get requests to help out other people and summoners. It often amounts to going and killing something for them or returning an item, but it does make the people of the overworld feel a bit more fleshed out, which is always nice to see. You get various rewards for doing this, and it really can break up the monotony a little bit. Sometimes it even unlocks new offerings in stores. But if you're going to be doing this a lot in the overworld, you better get used to this loading screen. Yeah. This one. Playing on PS4, I spent way too much time looking at this thing. But the biggest defender of this is the layout. Who framed it this way? Why, if this is your only loading screen display image, do you cover Ringo up like this? All you had to do was slide her 2 feet to the side so she could be visible on your stupid loading screen. It's almost like they did it on purpose, because you'd never think about it much unless you spent hours looking at this loading screen.
Too bad!
I know, Mothman. I know, that's what I'm saying. Just wait for me to finish, okay, buddy? One thing you can do is hang out with your buddies at the bar. Reminds me a lot of Yakuza Like a Dragon. This is the way you're going to get to know many of your party members, primarily. Sometimes it's as a group. Other times, Saizo is just trying to convince you to buy a record player because Saizo is old school like that.
Analog bitch, I'm an analog bitch. Keep your computer out of my house cause I'm an analog bitch. Don't need no cell phones here. Don't need no iPods here. Don't need no video game consoles here. I'm an analog bitch.
And of course, Ringo in all her technological wisdom kind of questions Saizo about this at first, but then eventually comes to an understanding that, you know, analog equipment is pretty cool. See, she's not just a computer. She can have thoughts of her own. But that's really the extent of these types of interactions. They bring you closer through your soul meter. The soul meter is basically your bond with each party member, and depending on how deep your soul bond is, you can visit the Axis, which is the digital world, and explore the inner psyches of your party members. The Axis functions kind of as a side dungeon. The deeper your soul bond, the deeper you can explore this dungeon. And in this dungeon, there's things like mini boss fights, and then quick cutscenes that give you a better understanding of your party member. Finally, there's a safe house where Ringo and her buddies hang out. The only things you can do here are rest, eat, and DLC. Sometimes cutscenes will play here too. However, meals are something you'll be doing here often. Every time you have a meal, it gives your party a temporary ability used in dungeon exploration. This could be like extra EXP or what have you. Sometimes your party loves the meal. Like, look at all that pizza. And why are there like 3 giant tubs of mayo and ketchup and mustard? First of all, who needs that much? Why are they eating it with pizza? Like, this is deliberate. This isn't just randomly placed there. The developers put this here, and now I'm led to believe that they eat mayo and ketchup and mustard with pizza. To each their own, I guess. But, yeah, sometimes they love it. But other times, Milady will be all angry and be like,
I will not eat your chicken strips. I'm an adult. I don't eat that shit. Connect the dots on your children's menu. I'll be eating at a grown-up venue.
oh, I guess they liked it anyway. These meals really do help in dungeons, though. There's not really a reason not to take advantage of it every time you go in. It can make combat a little more rewarding. I will say I do overall enjoy the combat, but
All yours, Sizo.
but they,
Don't over see that
But-
terror in their eyes? And I see that terror.
but they
promising.
guys,
Now,
they
Ringo,
have a bad habit of talking over
I'm
each
not
other.
your
down, gets
babysitter.
drinks on me.
I know, Mothman. I know. Just give me a moment to think. Mothman! The highlight, in my opinion, really are the boss battles. They often have challenging gimmicks that you'll have to think through. It may not be overly difficult, but often there's more demons than you can really handle all at once, so you have to be really decisive with who you take on at first and how your party will deal with the onslaught. It's a lot of fun and is definitely when the combat is at its best. I especially love it when you just barely eke it out. I may hate Jeremy Irons, but battling him is fun.
Don't you dare run. That's bad. That's bad.
Any other ideas?
Milady.
I think the only thing I wish is that maybe there were more boss battles throughout the game. The game moves pretty quick, and it really surprised me when I realized I was already approaching the end. So basically, the story sends you after these magical gummy worms that Jeremy Irons' demon always wants to eat. But if you keep track of the gummy worms, it kind of gives you a trajectory of how much game you have left. Now, I know it probably sounds like I've mostly been complaining, but I did like this game. And I just want to list some of the positives of things I like. I really like the character designs, especially the big colorful character portraits. I think they're a lot of fun. I think Ringo has some of the absolute best expressions of any character in Mega 10 game. I also really love that the portraits will change multiple times during conversation. Kind of allows for displaying an array of emotions. The overworld is really visually exciting, even if it really could use some more interactive elements. I think adding minigames would really help out a lot, especially if it could involve team members. The stack system may seem restrictive at first, but I promise you, give it time, acquire your commander skills, and I think you'll really start to come around to it. Some of the demons also look really great in this game. Fusing is just as fun as it's always been. Poke around, and I think you'll really find some things that you like about this game. I really do hope that this game will serve as a jumping off point for a much expanding game based on these systems in the future. For now, I give Soul Hackers 2 a 6.5 out of 10. I would say unless you're a hardcore Mega 10 fan, you can probably wait a bit on this game to drop in price. If you're really itching for a new Mega 10 game with a twist, this might just do it for you. Just don't expect to be completely blown away.
Too bad.
Oh, hey Mothman, I thought you were dead, man. Anyhow, Ringo is a worthy addition to the long line of awesome Mega 10 protagonists. I think you'll really warm up to her as she learns to become human. After all, she's not just a computer.
Analog bitch! I'm an analog bitch! I keep your computer out my house because I'm an analog bitch! Don't need no cell phones here! Don't need no iPods here! Don't need no game console here! Because I'm an analog bitch! I'm an analog bitch in a digital world! I'm an analog bitch and a hardcore girl! If you respect me and lick me when I please, then I will take you down to an analog fantasy! I'm an analog bitch.